right, guys, thank you so much for being here today. We are at the final stage of the process. This is the day before the weekend of the SHSAT, and I'm so excited to have the cohort of 2017 here today. And we have some students from Stuyvesant High School that's going to be talking to you guys. So I'll start off by having them introduce themselves, and then you guys are going to be able to ask some phenomenal questions. Okay? So we'll start with William over here.
Hi, I'm William. I'm a junior at Stuyvesant, and should I say anything else?
Yeah, just what you're up to, what your goal.
Actually, I can talk. I was a little bit late today because I was working with with the speech and debate team. I was helping coach some of the younger people on the team. I'm also part of the Spectator, which is our school's newspaper. And I'm also part of the Big Sibs program, which helps incoming freshmen get accustomed to Stuy.
Hi, my name's Anna. I'm a senior. I'm president of Aspira, captain of the gymnastics team, and founder of the Homeless Coalition. And right now we started a nonprofit called No One Gets Left Behind. And we go to a shelter in the Bronx and tutor kids, so it's cool.
That's awesome. Wonderful.
So I'm Venus, and I'm a senior at Stuy, so I'm president of the Black Students League. William is our vice president. I'm also involved in the Spectator, which is our student newspaper. I'm one of the editors. One big part of my life at Stuy is track. I'm on the cross-country, indoor, and outdoor track and field team. And then I also do STEP at Stuyvesant, and I'm an editor of The Indicator, which is our yearbook as well.
Awesome. And of course, you guys know me. I'm Miss Tai. My name is Tai Abrams, and I'm the founder and CEO of AdmissionSquad, an organization that helps you guys get into New York City's top high schools. And I'm so excited to have been able to work with you guys this year. You guys are my special group. You know, we have a lot of you who want to go to Stuyvesant, want to go to Bronx Science, want to go to Brooklyn Tech, and some of the other top high schools. And I'm just so proud of you. So at this stage in the game, I wanted you to have an opportunity to meet these folks, be able to see yourselves in their position, and ask any final questions that you have. So I wanted to open up the floor first. If you guys have any questions that you would like to ask our wonderful guests, please feel free to go for it. Okay, so we have Miss Khaliyah.
What extracurricular activities does Stuyvesant offer?
So we actually offer everything. So that we have literally everything. We have over 200 clubs, over 40 sports teams, and we have publications. And it's so easy to start something. If there's not a club that you want, which is pretty rare, you can start it very easily. We have a Super Mario Smash Bros club. We have a nail polish club. All you have to do is
slime club.
Yeah. And all you have to do to start a club is get I don't know what the number is, 5 or so people.
3 people.
Yeah, 3 people who want to be in that club, and then you can you can also get funding too. You just have to write up your charter, the goals of your club, and everything, and it's so easy to start a club. So what are you interested in? And we'll tell you if we have it. What are you interested in?
Me, I like STEP.
I do STEP.
I do STEP too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so for STEP, we have 3 yearly productions. So we have Stuy Squad, which is an all dance show. Then we have Sing, which is the annual production that everyone's involved in, and different dance crews perform throughout the play. And then we also have SOS, which is a talent show. And then this year they started a group called Stuy Step, so it runs more year round. Yeah.
Also, we have every single PSAL sport, an internationally ranked robotics team. You don't need to know robotics at all. You could just go in and learn everything. And a nationally ranked debate team, speech team too.
Nice. Speech team?
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent.
So I think the point is that anything you guys are interested in, anything you can imagine, there's so many opportunities to pursue that at Stuy, and it's such a great place for discovering new things. So something you don't even know that you're interested in yet. If you get into Stuy, then you'll be exposed to so many more opportunities, and so you can discover interests that you don't even know you had, I think.
Other questions?
Yeah. So how rigorous is the curriculum at Stuy?
Honestly, it's as rigorous as you want it to be. People come to Stuy because they want to learn and they want to take interesting classes. I think that the best thing about Stuy is that we don't just have all the classes and the APs and the honors classes, but we have really interesting classes too. Like right now I'm learning about modern China's economy, and we have like Jewish history, New York City history.
Yeah, forensics, where you learn like CSI
We
stuff.
have that in our school.
Like anthropology, neuroscience,
I'm taking criminal law right now.
zoology, if you want to do zoology.
And you get to dissect animals like every day. Yeah.
So like first 2 years, you're gonna take all your core classes, and that includes music appreciation, art appreciation, drafting, computer science. And it's not that bad. Like I was in a sports team for all 3 seasons, and I went to sleep at 10 freshman year, so it's not that bad. But like junior and senior year, you can really start taking classes like woodworking, graphic design, a Photoshop class, a photography class, video editing class.
So I'm taking web design where we learn to code websites. Yeah. So like,
Can you guys talk about the requirement of taking computer science freshman and sophomore year?
so yeah.
Yeah.
So all of you as sophomores, if you come to Stuy, you're going to be taking at least 1 semester of computer science in your sophomore year. So it's really cool. I think there's a lot of misconceptions that like, oh, like it's computer science is so scary. But they really have, Stuy has a really great computer science department. So like it's really easy to pick up, and they know like a lot of people don't have experience with it. So if it's something you're interested in, then like there are so many opportunities to pursue that at Stuy again. So like right now I'm taking AP computer science, and like going into Stuyvesant, I was like, I'm never going to touch a computer. I really didn't think computer science was something that I'd be interested in, and then coming to Stuy, I found that interest, and I have the opportunity to pursue that to a further level than I would have at another school.
Yeah, me as well. Like coming into Stuy, I didn't even know what computer science was. And then now I'm taking like in my senior year advanced web design, which is a class that it's not even a requirement. I chose to take it because I really liked it.
And I also think we have one of the best computer science programs in the city.
In the country.
Yeah. These students from Israel came.
Hands down.
These students from Israel even came to see our like computer science program and see our computer science teachers. So it's a good course.
I mentioned that because, we're moving in that technology direction. It's not really a choice to not understand at least one coding language. We're in a place where technology is just so pervasive. So you want to go to a high school that affords you that opportunity. So a school like Stuyvesant, they put a lot of time. It's been like, it was actually an alumni that implemented that curriculum for Stuyvesant High School. And it's because of that, they have it embedded into the curriculum to where all students have that access. It's not just some based on electives, okay? So that was a very important point. Thank you guys so much. So do we have any other questions?
Okay, do you guys feel safe in your school community?
We're surrounded by 3 other schools, all below high school. So there's like so much security. Yeah. It's like one of the best neighborhoods, I think.
Yeah, it's a really rich neighborhood. Like all you see is like people like all you see is like many like celebrities have homes there. Like Taylor Swift has a home like a couple blocks away. Beyonce had a home in Tribeca. I don't know what it is, but it's in Tribeca.
It's somewhere.
Yeah. So like it's a really safe neighborhood. All you see is like all these families like with all these little kids, people walking their like huge dogs.
You see lots of dogs during
lots of dogs.
Yeah.
Lots of dogs.
And it's like it's a really pretty neighborhood. It's very, very safe. Yeah. I'm always like at school really late, like 10, 11, like doing extracurricular activities, So it's like it's fine. Yeah.
And I think even within the school also, like I don't think there are any fights or security is not like physical security is not definitely.
The people
not
at Stuyvesant, they know their priorities. Like you come to school to learn. They don't do any of that extra like dumb stuff.
So at Stuy, is there like a whole lot of collaborations, or is it more of work done by yourself?
There are a lot, So you have work done by yourself, as a typical classroom, everyone has to be graded individually, but you also have a lot of group projects. Like we do like in almost every class I've had like a project where we've had to work together.
And I think one major misconception about Stuy is that everything is super competitive and that everyone's out to get each other. In my experience, that is one of the farthest things from the truth. Like that is one of the things that I was so worried about going into Stuy, and then having been at Stuy, I found that yes, there are some people that can be like that, but for the most part, the community at Stuy, like Bina said, they have their priorities in check. We're all in the same boat together, so we're all gonna help each other out because we all are going through it together, and we all have that shared experience. So I think in general, Stuyvesant students are very supportive of one another. are very caring, and they look out for each other.
Yeah, and then going off of just helping each other, like me and William, and we're part of Arista and Big Sibs. Well, I'm part of Arista, and William and I were both part of Big Sibs, as you can see from our shirt. So like Big Sibs, like once you get into Stuy, like freshmen are all paired with juniors and seniors, and they mentor you throughout your freshman year and even like the rest of like your high school career as well. They help you with like anything, like if you need advice on classes you should take with teachers or anything like that. They help you with your transition. They're there for you throughout your whole year. And then for Arista, we have this program where we do peer tutoring. So all you have to do is online, like if you need more help in biology per se, you'll just say what periods you're free, like your lunch period or your free period, or even after school if you want to meet after or before school. And then like they'll pair you with like a tutor who's in Arista, the National Honor Society, and then they'll tutor you for free. So it's really helpful. Like there's so many support systems there for you.
Also, I'll keep this short. I think every class has a Facebook group. And you just post on the Facebook group like who's got a study guide, and someone's like, oh, I'll add you to the doc. And it turns out there's a study guide that the whole entire class is working on.
Yeah.
And it's like 20 pages.
Yeah.
So
That was me too,
like you're gonna find those kids who are like, oh yeah, I don't want to give you my study guide, but most of the time, I mean, there's study guides on the school website that kids submit. Yeah. So you'll probably find a study guide for any teacher that you have. So.
And also, I think you find your people at Stuy. Like we're part. Like we're part of BSL Aspira, so they're like once you go to Stuy, you'll find like your community, your peers that you have shared interests with. So for example, like the three of us, we all have a lot of clubs that we do in common, specifically BSL and Aspira. So we all like have got each other's backs, and there's definitely like safe spaces for us and spaces that we can talk about stuff that we're interested in.
So, like, when you're doing work in school and whatnot, do you ever think, like, it's too much?
There's gonna be days when you're in your house and the midnight strikes and you're like, oh, geez, I got another essay to write, and you're like, why am I at Stuy? But that's not every night. Honestly, freshman year, like I said, I was in 3 sports teams, and I finished my homework before I even went home. Like, I finished in school, so it's not that bad freshman year. And then, like, it's just how many classes you want to take. Yeah. If you take, like, 4 APs in junior year, you're going to have some work to do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, a lot of people talk about, like, how much homework we have and how hard the workload is, but that's because, like, it's not given to you when you come in, but everyone at Stuy wants to challenge themselves. So a lot of people choose to take harder courses, they choose to take extra APs, they choose to stay late after school. So then that's when you're staying up late, and that's when you have a lot more homework. It's not something that you're going to choose to do, but the people who get into Stuy are all people who like want to challenge themselves, and they're capable of doing that work.
And I think the transition into Stuy is a lot easier than people make it out to be. So a lot of people think like, oh, I'm gonna go to Stuy and then I'm just freshman year, day one, I'm just like not gonna sleep and I'm gonna have so much homework. The teachers are so understanding. Like they know that everyone is coming from a different middle school, everyone's at a different level, so they really try and make your transition into Stuy as easy as possible. So freshman year, I got a good amount of sleep. I went to sleep at like 10 or 11 each night. And I felt it was really manageable. And then so sophomore year, I decided maybe I'll take one more class. And then this year, I'm that person taking 4 APs and I like don't sleep at all. But like it's really up to you. Like you can decide. So I'm taking 4 APs. One of my friends is not taking any APs and gets like 8 hours of sleep a night. So I think it's really up to you. And how much you want to push yourselves. And I think the fact that you're here and that you are committed to working hard just to get into Stuy, I think that proves that you have what it takes to do well at Stuy and to be disciplined and to be hardworking. And I think that'll translate very well in our school community.
All right, Kerane had a question.
Diverse in terms of like race?
Yeah.
So it actually is like it's kind of diverse. Like it's not just like all white people, you know. It's like we have a very large Asian population. We do, yeah. So like in terms of like the Black and Latino population, it's not that high. Like as you get into like the higher cutoff scores, like our numbers get lower and lower. But we do have a very close, tight knit community. As you can see, like we have BSL Aspira, which is our Black Students League and Hispanic Students League. So we have a club there. In terms of like, even though there are not that many like other Black people or Latino people, like race is never an issue. Like no one is overtly racist at the school, so like that's never an issue. Like I have friends of all races. Most of my friends aren't Black or Hispanic, you know. So it's like I came from an all Black middle school, and then so coming into Stuy was like a very big culture shock, but I got used to it. Like everyone's friendly. We're all like people. Yeah.
So can we talk about that a little bit more? What did it really take for you guys to get into this school? I know that means a lot of your peers weren't putting in the same level of work ethic, right? They weren't putting on all the years that you probably put in. So what type of sacrifices did you guys have to, make? And of course, what are some of the tips that you guys can offer that you implemented that can allow them to be successful?
So I learned what test prep was in like 7th grade when my friend was like, oh yeah, I'm going to test prep for the SHSAT, and I was like, what is test prep? And so her mom talked to my mom, and I went to test prep, and I started studying a year before the test. So that was just like taking practice tests. Like my summer was dedicated to practicing for the test, and honestly my best advice, even though it's the day before, it was to take practice tests, like take a lot of them every week. But now, the day before, my best advice is trust yourself. Like, go into this test confident. Like, your mindset should be, I'm getting into Stuy. Like, that should be your mindset before you even walk into the test. Because you know everything. It's just based on when you see that question, you're going to remember what it is. And 100% you will remember it.
Yeah, so for me, like, actually in the 5th grade, one of my teachers, she saw my talents and she knew I was smart, so she told me about Stuyvesant. She's like, there's this school, Stuyvesant. And then she gave me like an SHSAT book to start studying from. So that's how I knew about the test. I looked at it a little from here and from when she gave me the book, but that was in 5th grade. So then 7th grade, like I went to test prep and we did a lot of practice problems and practice tests. And I did a lot of studying on my own. My mom bought me like 3 different SHSAT books and I used all of them. So I think like one big thing is like just going through all the problems, and when you take a practice test, you get your grade, don't just stop there. Like, I mean, like it's the day before the test, but like what I did was like everything that I got wrong, I'd go back and see like, why did I get it wrong? Like, how do I do this type of problem? Because it's like, it's not like a different test every time. The problems are very similar. It's always the same type of problem. They'll just change the names or change the numbers. So like if you get a certain type of problem wrong, like make sure you learn how to do that, because it's gonna pop up on the real test probably. So like, I mean, like the day, you guys have like one day before the test, so there's not really much studying you can do, and I trust that you guys have been working hard like this whole time. If there's like still something that's bothering you or something that you're struggling at, maybe tomorrow morning like brush up on it, do a little more practice on it, but don't stay up all night tomorrow like studying it. Like you guys have been studying this whole time, so you're fine.
The night before my test, I baked cookies and watched SpongeBob. The cookies came out bad. Apparently baking soda and baking powder are very different.
Wait, so was it the cool thing to do to be preparing for Stuyvesant?
No.
I was the only one who like knew about it. Like no one else, like it wasn't even that people didn't think it was cool. No one else in my grade knew about it. So like I was just like studying on my own, really. Yeah.
Yeah, same with me. I didn't even know about the SHSAT until like 2 months before. So I had very, very little time to prepare. My parents just like brought me home a Barron's book one day and were like,
figure it out.
Yeah, so I ended up taking a bunch of practice tests, like the 2 of them. And I think like what helped me the most was like after having taken those practice tests, the day before I said, I know what I know, and like I'm confident in what I know, and like there's nothing else I can do at this point. So I'm not going to stress out. I'm not going to have a panic attack mid-test, because like I'm going in and I have all the information I need. Like I'm going to walk into this test and I'm going to take it, and whatever happens, happens. But like the most important thing is to be confident in yourself. Because if you go into that test and you see one problem that you're like, I don't know how to do it, and you start freaking out, then that's it. Like you gotta stay in there, you gotta get your head in the game, stay calm, If there's a question you don't know, like, don't sweat it. It's a multiple choice test. It's
Every
a multiple
question is worth the
choice
same
test.
number
Yeah.
of points. Just skip it and go on to the next one. Don't waste
Yeah,
time.
so like you guys have all your skills, all your strategies already. And you've been preparing more. You prepared more than I prepared for the SHSAT. And I'm like really confident that all of you have what it takes. And now it's just a matter of putting all that hard work towards something, towards the results, towards something that you know you can already do.
Also, my dad tells me before every test, you think of your teacher, and like, I don't know how that helps, but just think of Miss Tai. And before your test, you're like, what does she teach me? What do my teachers teach me? What do my parents tell me? And just think of that. And when you go into your test, you're gonna remember, like, the best thing you can do is trust in yourself and be confident when you're taking the test.
Do you have any tips for time management? Because that's like my biggest problem.
Yeah, so for me, time when I was practicing, time management wasn't an issue, but then on the day of the test, I was just like, I have to get this right. Like, I'm the type of person who will put 2 + 2 in a calculator just to make sure that like when I'm taking the test to make sure I get it right. So I think one thing is just like trust yourself, because I was doing fine in my practice test, but on the day of the test, I ran out of time. Like, I guessed on the last 30 questions. Like, I put CC for the last 30 questions.
Same.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Yeah,
we are not doing that.
Don't
like
do
that.
that.
We got D in a row, like HD.
But that's not always going to be the case, right?
I mean, I think, like,
That is correct. So I think that the answer.
Yeah, so like one thing is just like when you're taking the test, like don't stress. Like if you don't know a question, don't stay on it. Like I was like, I have to get this right, I have to get everything right like on the test. So I dwelled on questions that I didn't need to spend all my time on. So that's why I ran out of time. So just trusting yourself. If you don't know a question, it's fine. Just skip over it. If you have time, go back to it later. Like it's better than like running out of time and having to guess on 30 questions.
Yeah, you don't need an 800 to get into Stuy. Like the cutoff score is significantly lower than 800. So I think if you get one question wrong, 2 questions wrong, if in one section you get like there are a couple questions you're not sure about, then that's fine. There's still a really good chance you could get in. Don't say I have to get an 800 because you're not here to get an 800. You're here to get above a certain cutoff score. So I think keeping that in mind, not every question needs to be perfect, especially if you are struggling with time. I'm sure Ms. Tai has taught you different strategies on how to narrow down answers. So if you can narrow it down to 2 answers and then you really don't know how to do it, then guess on one of them. And then you have a much higher % chance of getting it right. So I think just using all the strategies Ms. Tai taught you, having that mentality of trusting yourself, and knowing that you just need a certain score. You just need to get above a certain score. You don't have to stress over every single question.
Yeah, and remember, like, every question is worth the same amount of points. So, like, all you're trying to do is get as many questions right as possible. So if you're going to spend, like, 5 minutes on one question, like, you could do, like, 3 questions in that time if you just skip over that one question. So you're trying to get as many points as possible. So just keep that in mind.
I think my best advice is read everything critically. Like, don't just be stressed and you have to reread something 4 times. Like, when you're reading that passage, read it critically. Like, after each paragraph, be like, what was this about? What was the purpose of this passage? Or in the math question, technically every question can kind of be solved through reasoning. So think, well, is that last answer reasonable? Can an age be a decimal? Like, those kind of things. You know, like, because they're gonna put those trick questions. So if you read critically, you'll be able to answer critically.
But leave nothing blank.
Yeah, always guess. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
like, just like always, like, if you have blank questions, just guess.
You're not penalized for getting it
And also when you're guessing, like, don't you have a higher chance, like, if you have a lot of questions that you're gonna have to guess on, put like the same choice, like just choose one letter, because like you have a higher chance of, like, if you, like, for 30 questions at least a couple of them are gonna have to be C. But like if you guess like all different answers for all of them, then it's a very high chance that you get only a few of them right.
And choose the letter beforehand, because you don't want to be like going on the day of the test like, oh, I have to guess on these last couple questions. Mine is just A, B, C, or D. So just like walk in, like have a letter that if you don't know, if you have no idea, if you have no
like,
clue,
if you can eliminate
then just be like,
choices,
for all of them, I'm just going to choose C. If I have no clue, I'm going to choose, for every question I have no idea how to do, I'm going to choose C. Or choose B or whatever, but know what that letter is going to be before we walk into that
He's
test.
my letter of the day.
So, Avery has a question.
So, did you guys all put Stuy as your first choice?
Yes, that's the only way you can get into the school. There's, like, if you put it second, third, anything else, there's no, like, even if you have a high enough score, you're not getting it. So everyone in Stuyvesant did it first.
Okay, so why Stuy? Why did you put it as your first choice? Is there any reason you prefer?
For me, like, it was very specific in that my teacher, like, she told me about Stuy. Like, that's the only school she told me about Stuy. Like, when I looked into it, like, I saw it was the top school, and I've always been someone who wants to challenge myself. So I saw this is the hardest school to get into. That means it's going to have the smartest students, so that's where I wanted to go.
For me, I think it was kind of similar to you guys. Like, I went to an open house, and I talked to Kerane, who was the president of the Black Students League at the time. And I was like, I have never met such driven, talented people. And I said, I wanted to be one of those people. I want to be someone that can function and perform well at a really challenging school. And I want to be someone that's driven. I want to be someone that's motivated. And I want to be someone that helps others be like that as well. That inspires others. So I think for me, it was the people at Stuy. Like, I wanted to surround myself with a group of people who I knew would be putting their academics first, who I knew would be smart and motivated and talented. And I said, if I put myself in that situation, then I'm gonna learn so much more than if I'm surrounded by a group of people who don't care about school. I'm gonna learn not only from my friends and not only from the school, but I'm gonna learn from my peers. And I think that's a really important thing to think about when choosing a school. You wanna think about who else is going to be in that school with you. Who are the people who are gonna be in the class asking the critical questions? Who are the people who are gonna be working at labs or at hospitals or at libraries on the weekend? And so I think for me, it was really surrounding myself with a group of people that I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, adding on to that, like, the middle school that I went to, like, I was always, like, the smartest one. It was just me, like, by myself, like, doing, like, I studied, like, for the test, like, by myself. None of my friends were studying for it. So, like, at Stuyvesant, like, everyone pushes you. Like, even if, like, you're feeling like, I don't want to do this today, everyone else around you is doing such great things. So that motivates you to do the best. Like, it's really great, like, to put yourself in that environment because it forces you to always, like, strive for success.
Honestly, mine is kind of funny. My brother went to Stuy and he came home one day and he was like, Anna, I met this dude in my math class who was playing this game on his calculator, and apparently he coded Pokemon onto his calculator. Like, he coded it onto it, and he was playing Pokemon in math class. And I was like, what? That is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. And after that, I realized you're surrounding yourself with intelligent, interesting people. And I feel like you can't find that in other schools. Like, where else are you going to find somebody who's going to code Pokemon for you on your calculator?
Also, have any of you guys visited Stuy? Like, the building is amazing.
It's so
like,
nice.
Unlike any other school, like, every other school is just like,
yeah,
every other, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyber Stuy, you guys had that.
Yeah. You guys went.
I like the bridge.
Yeah, every other school is just like hallways, classroom. Stuy is not like that at all. It's a really unique building. It has such great views. It's right on the Hudson River. Like, it's such a beautiful neighborhood, such a beautiful building. Like, no other school is like that. Honestly, like, Stuyvesant was the first high school that I looked at. So looking at other schools after I looked at Stuyvesant, every other school was just like, as you said, disappointing. Like, it's a really, really great building.
Like, all the time, I like find myself zoning out during class because I'm staring at the river and I'm like,
Honestly, I flex this at every open house. If you go to Bronx Science, the ceilings are really low, but at Stuy, the ceilings are huge.
Yeah, it's like
and it's so like light and like.
We have so many different facilities. Like, we have a bigger pool than Queens College.
I'm not salty. I'm about to like pick up Bronx Science in a second.
And I think also like the amount of resources you have at Stuy. So Stuy is like has one of the best is one of the best funded public schools in New York City. Yeah, so we get a huge endowment, and like that really shows. So you have different science labs, you have drafting labs, computer labs, and you have like amazing teachers. I think the teachers are really one of the highlights at Stuy. So like I think we have more PhDs among our faculty than almost any other school, any other public school in New York City.
One of our PE teachers has a PhD.
Yeah.
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 One of our math teachers, my favorite math teacher, he taught me how to do the Rubik's Cube. He came into class with like this big book, and I was like, what is that? And I tried to read it, and it was all in like ancient Latin. He's like, oh yeah, I learned it so that I could read the original math theorems. And I was like, That is crazy.
Yeah, like one of my history teachers, he's published 2 books. Like the other one, like he was named like New York State History Teacher of the Year. Like William has him this year. Like he was the best history teacher in New York State. Like we really have great teachers at our school.
I can speak to Bronx Science, okay? We do have an open campus, okay? So during lunch, you get to go off campus to go get your own food.
We can do that too.
And we have a real campus though. Like when you go outside, you can play frisbee. you can sit on the lawn. You guys don't have that.
We have a lawn right behind our school.
There's a really big park behind
basketball court right there, a tennis court right there. You can run on the river.
No, we have handball courts. Do you have handball courts?
We have a handball court.
Like during
Bronx Science is awesome. I'm just saying.
yeah, like during lunch, my lunch period last year, I used to like buy a sandwich and then I would just like walk along the river and down the pier and I would just chill and it was so nice because I'd be like right on the river and I'd be looking out at the view.
Yeah, like my cousins
Outside the window. Or like when you're out for lunch, do you just like run out and get like your class?
Actually, I have a funny story for that. I was in chem class, and one time I was looking out the window, and I saw like somebody in a big penthouse. I was looking, they had like a whole glass wall, and they were watching, I think, I'm not sure, they were watching some show, and I was just watching their show from the window, the whole class period. It was a good show. But
That's amazing.
yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, I mean, like, just typically people, like, zone out. Like, sometimes everyone zones out. Sometimes, like, nothing more than usual. In terms of being late for lunch, everyone goes out for lunch with friends, so, like, you can't all be late. Like, someone's gonna see the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
And I think generally, like, classes are pretty engaging. Like, you should pay, like, it's important to pay attention during class.
Yeah, it's not
especially,
very easy,
yeah, because, like, the teachers have so much to say. And, like, you can learn a lot just from paying attention in one lecture. Like, it's not one of those schools where you can not pay attention in class and then go home and read everything from the textbook. Like, the teachers are a really great resource.
Honestly, one of the best things that I found at Stuy was how passionate every single teacher I've had was about their subject. Like, right now, my favorite class is Modern China's Economy. And, like, my teacher just knows everything about China. It's crazy. And he's not Chinese. And it's like, it's so interesting. Like, my teacher is like, oh yeah, you know, that specific food, they use this spice because in ancient China. I was like, what? Like, he knows so much about it.
Yeah, the teachers are so enthusiastic. Like, I used to hate history. Like, it was my least favorite subject, and now it's my favorite one because I had 2 years in a row with really great teachers who just, like, I didn't like history, but when they talked about it to us, they were so excited. Like, you could see in their eyes, they were so excited, and that made me love it too.
Nice. So you guys are upperclassmen at Stuyvesant. What opportunities await you now? Where are you guys headed? College. So what's your dream college? What does the next 4 years look like for you?
I'm looking at like colleges like Harvard and Yale and U Chicago. I also really like Swarthmore.
Yeah, basically the Ivies.
Of course.
I wanted to go into business because I started the nonprofit for the homeless, and I wanted to go into nonprofit business, but this modern China class is I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna study Chinese history, like modern China's economy, because my teacher just made it so interesting, and now like I want to learn Mandarin in college, so yeah, I think I go into that.
And I'm gonna just rep the speech and debate team for a little bit. So if you come and you join the speech and debate team, you get to travel all across the country and you get to tour a lot of these college campuses. So like we go to Yale, we go to Princeton, we go to Harvard, we go to Emory. So like you get to see the college campuses like just as part of speech and debate trips. So like it's a really great opportunity. And like I think this winter break I'm going to California to see Stanford, UCLA.
And we're going to go to Disney. So we're going to
Really? Any final question?
Oh, yes. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Is each person, or should I say student, subjected to their own locker at Stuy?
Freshman year, you're gonna get a locker buddy.
Yeah.
But it's really good though because you can make, like my first friend at Stuy was my locker buddy.
You don't choose them.
No.
You split the price with them, and then
It's $7.
It's not bad.
It's not like
Wait, $7 per one
Locker.
No, for the entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
It's $7 every time you open your locker.
Right. I'm like, that's really that's
Yeah, and then after your freshman year, then your sophomore, junior, and senior year, you get your own locker.
But you can still like split the price
Yeah.
if you want to share lockers.
Yeah, like
I never met my locker buddy freshman year. Like I don't think I don't know. I don't know what happened to him.
My locker buddy was my first friend too.
yeah, like I'm still really close with my
Any other, please, you have a question?
Is there anything you guys like do now, like in middle school, or anything that you're interested in that you want to do?
Music.
Music.
What kind of music? Like
I
singing,
do vocal music.
We have
Our chorus
It's
went to
amazing.
they perform
Carnegie
at
Hall.
Carnegie like a lot of times.
yeah.
We have an acapella group for like pop songs and an acapella group for choral songs.
We also have an acapella group that sings in like subways too now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And also, like, if there's a different kind of music you're interested in, you could start your own club. You could be like, I'm gonna start. What kind of music are you interested in?
I like classic, modern, baroque, all those types. I love
And see, we have AP Music Theory. We have it, and like I took AP Music Theory last year. And like there's a composing club at Stuy. Yeah, exactly.
There was one person who like loved composing music, so he went to our music AP and he was like, "Oh, I have a song that I composed and I want to play it in our concert." And the guy was like, our AP music, not the guy. Our AP of music was like, all right, let me give you this section of our orchestra, our best violinist, our best bassist, and he was able to play his own music at our concert.
Yeah, we performed it. I played the cello.
You did?
Yeah, and we performed it at the spring concert for like the entire.
yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people think Stuyvesant students like we're just school books, but like we're really great at the extracurriculars that we do because it's just that mentality of like wanting to excel in everything you do. Like you're gonna excel in school, you want to excel in sports, like whatever it is. So like a lot of our sports teams, like people are like probably like nerds can't do sports, but a lot of our sports teams win the championship. Like, a lot of our sports teams like actually win like the city and borough championships. Like we're really good at everything we do. Yeah, the track team, like we've been undefeated in boroughs for like we don't even know the last time we lost.
Also, Lucy Liu graduated from Stuy.
Yeah,
Lucy Liu.
she's an actor.
actress.
That's phenomenal.
Oh! See, I don't know them by the actual name.
Right.
Well, that's phenomenal. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Just saying.
Oh, you're gonna love
History, you're gonna.
Yeah,
Honestly,
there's
I didn't
such
like
great
history,
teachers.
and then
It's
now
my favorite
I
subject.
want to
Yeah.
major in Chinese
Yeah.
history. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're in
The
the
history
answer.
teachers are amazing.
Wait, for the coding languages, what do they teach?
So, yeah, like basically everything. So your sophomore year, they start you off easy because they know like everyone has a different amount of coding experience. So you start out learning Scheme and then NetLogo, and then second semester, if you want to continue with computer science, you learn Python. And right now I'm learning Java.
My sister did that.
Yeah, right now I'm learning Java, HTML, JavaScript, CSS.
Yeah, like in my
there are a lot of opportunities, and then there are also a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
That will teach you different languages.
Like we have girls who code. That's a club, like you don't have to be a girl to join, and you could sign up to be like a mentor. Like if you're really good at coding, you could sign up to just learn. Like even if you don't want to do it in class, you can do it like after school. We have a lot of like hackathons, like we have CyberSty, which you guys went to, and we have multiple hackathons. So we have one coming up too. Hackathons? Like yeah, you just like code. I've never been to.
I've never been to one.
also the robotics.
And one good thing about Stuy, like companies, like if computer science is something you want to go into, like different organizations and companies and like startups, they know that Stuy students have a really good foundation in computer science. Yeah, so they love Stuyvesant students. A lot of Stuy kids have internships at companies that they get through the computer science department.
Yeah,
so
also
it's a really,
also the different clubs like also go and visit a lot of these like girls who code visits like Google and other like tech companies.
so it's really great for making connections. And I think like Stuy's name in general, like it'll get you so far.
You know,
in
I start
life,
every email like Stuyvesant
Stuyvesant
student
student.
interested in.
Yeah, because that helps.
Like different colleges, universities, even like companies, and so and like all different professions, like they know Stuy's name. So by going to Stuy, you're getting so much more than just the education. Like you're getting a boost up in your future. Like you're getting those, you're gonna get through the door. You're gonna get those interviews, and it really prepares you well. And you also have an amazing network of alumni that you can reach out to. Because Stuy is such a huge school, we have alumni in literally every field. So just by virtue of being a Stuy student, you already have all those connections, and you already have that name on your resume.
This is the last question for me.
This is the last question for the evening. Okay.
So does it have like a law program?
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So right now I'm taking law. So I'm taking criminal law, and that's a one-term course, and we learn like criminal law. And then yeah. So then second term we take civil law, and like also like within the law class, and also after school we have moot court, where you like simulate like the procedures of like court, like defending a law case. So we just started doing that right now. And then we also have mock trial. The debate team, like a lot of people who want to go into law, they join debate because like you use the same debating skills in law. And then we also have a Stuyvesant Legal Society now. It just started. So yeah, we have a lot of different support systems for law. There are also like, there's a judge, a pretty famous judge, he's pretty high up in the New York courts, who like went to Stuy. He came to speak to our law class. And also like I really recommend you take law because we make a lot of connections from that. A lot of the speakers who come to speak to our class are like former Stuy students who went into the legal field. And then as William said, like our alumni, like we have an alumni mentoring program. So if you join that program and tell them you want to do law, they'll probably match you with like a lawyer who went to Stuy. So like having navigated the same path from Stuy to the legal field, like they tell you exactly what you need to do.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. I think this was an amazing conversation. You guys were able to ask some really insightful questions, and there's literally nothing more that you can do. You guys have the exam this weekend. I think you've worked extremely hard. They are excellent role models, okay, of where you guys could be as long as you guys show up on this exam this weekend. It is the only piece to the admissions process. I don't know if you guys know this, but the exam is different this year.
Yeah, it was a 2-hour summer.
So it's going to be 3 hours. We know this. There's no longer scrambled paragraphs and logical reasoning. We're going to have the grammar component instead. And we still have your reading comprehension. Do not forget the grid response, right? A line left and then bubble in your responses. And of course, leave no question blank. All right. Any final words from you all before we go?
Well, there's this thing that one of my math tutors told me before I took the test, and I tell it to everybody, is that there's 3 ways to solve a math problem. And the first way is reasoning. So like I said before, an age can't be a decimal, and that kind of reasoning, and you just like can tell what the answer is right away. Every math question on the test can be solved through algebra. So if you ever are stuck, think of a way to solve it algebraically. And finally is probability. So you can remember like RAP, so R-A-P. So if you get stuck, you get rid of 2 answers, and probability is between the 2.
Yeah, also like other than that, like I just think like you guys have been studying, you guys have been putting in that work, just always trust yourself. If you get stuck on a question, like don't dwell on it, skip it. Like don't waste time, because that was my biggest issue during the test. So I think just trust yourself and like remember everything that you've been taught, and you guys will be fine.
And also put Stuy first. Like I cannot emphasize that enough. That is the only way to get into Stuy. And like you guys have been working so hard for this. You're here 5:30 on a Friday evening. Like y'all are committed. Like y'all are in this boat. So I think put all of that towards a good purpose. Put Stuy first, because that's the only way you can get in. And like you guys got this. Like you're here, it's 5:30 on a Friday. Like you could be at home sleeping right now, but instead you decided to show up today. And like that shows how committed you are, how hardworking you guys are. And I think just show that. Like it'll show on the test and in your scores. So good luck.
Yeah, I trust that all of you guys are gonna do great on the test, and I expect to see all of you guys at Stuy.
We're gonna come back. We'll
come back to look for you.
BSL like SBR members.
Yes.
Also, we'll be there. There's an open house for accepted students, and we'll still be in the school then. So we'll hope to see all of you guys.
Yeah.
We'll have a cool slideshow.
My name is Khaliyah.
Oh, I'll see you there.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I wanted to get you guys out of here because you have to get back to school. But Yes, no, seriously, thank you so much. And they're literally, you guys have a Facebook page?
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, like
She knows our Facebook.
And our
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Follow us on
that's
Instagram.
gonna be.
Yeah.
Huh?
So that's gonna be another conversation with my mom.
Well, you're gonna say you need it for Stuy.
Exactly.
I didn't make it until because like as we said before, like all the classwork, like everyone does everything
on
on
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah. So like I didn't make it until like I joined Stuy. That's how I convinced my mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just tell them you're trying to make it in advance, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're trying to join Aspira BSL early
Yeah.
Right.
before you get it. Our Instagram is Stuy Aspira BSL.
It's on our Facebook page.
Oh, and then our Facebook page is Stuy
We'll send it to
Aspira/BSL.
Yeah,
I
have it. I stalk you guys. So basically, look, this is about networking, right? When you networking is about creating relationships and leveraging those relationships throughout your career. So you guys now have access to a network of young professionals who you guys can model after, learn from, grow with, and of course, you guys will grow together. Sometimes, let's say, they're at one of them are at Google, and you want to be at Google, you may be able to get into to Google from them. Here's the other way around. You can see one of these folks in the audience, and they're at Facebook, and you're like, hey, remember way back when I met you? I'm trying to get into Facebook. Can you help me out? So that's how you cultivate networks, and you guys support each other. So I'm just so grateful that we were able to do this, and we'll continue to build a strong partnership with Stuyvesant moving forward.
Yeah.
All right?
Later when you guys make LinkedIn's.
Yeah,
all
it's true. We're gonna do that too. All right. Well, William, Anna, Chidamon, thank you so much.
Thank you.